Okay, what if our most basic ideas about how the universe works are just, well, not the whole story? Today we are diving into a pretty radical new theory. It's a single concept that might just tie together mass, gravity, space-time, and even dark matter. So yeah, let's get right into it.
It all kicks off with a question that we've been asking forever. Since the whole apple falling from a tree thing. It seems so simple, but the answer? Well, it pushes us right to the edge of modern physics. Why is it that something with mass has this built-in ability to pull on everything else around it?
Now, if you've sat through a physics class, you probably have an answer ready to go. It's the one that's been the bedrock of how we think about gravity for more than 100 years.
Right. The textbook answer is that mass doesn't really pull on things, it bends them. The big idea here is that mass actually warps the fabric of space-time, and other objects are just kind of rolling along those curves. You've seen the image, right? The bowling ball on a trampoline seems pretty straightforward.
But it's not quite that simple. You know how it is. The second you get an answer to one question, you immediately have to ask the next why. And this is where things start to get really, really interesting.
See, this is the question that standard physics doesn't have a great answer for. Why does mass even have this incredible power to warp the entire universe? What's actually happening underneath it all? Just saying it just doesn't really cut it. And that is precisely the puzzle this new theory sets out to solve.
So, to really get to the bottom of that why, this theory says we need a new idea, something even more fundamental. We have to go a layer deeper than space-time itself.
And boom, here's the core concept. The reason mass bends time-space is because they both come from the exact same source, something the theory calls the fabric of reality. So they're not two different things interacting with each other. Nope, they're just two different expressions of one single thing.
So what on earth is this fabric? Well, think of it as the ultimate raw material of the universe. It's this one fundamental stuff that you can mold and shape. And get this, it isn't in space and time, it can be shaped into space and time, and it can also be shaped into what we call mass.
You see how this is a huge shift in thinking? It means mass and space-time aren't cause and effect. They're more like two sides of the same coin. Both of them are just emerging from this one underlying fabric.
So here's a neat way to think about it. We see mass when we're looking at a specific, localized shape that's been formed in the fabric. And space-time, well, that's just everything else. It's the rest of the fabric that's all around that shape. It's really just two different ways of looking at the same reality.
Okay, but if mass is just a shape, how does that even happen? I mean, how do you take this universal fabric and create something that seems solid and stable out of it?
So the theory suggests that this fabric can be bent into these super stable repeating patterns. The source calls them resonance carrier balls. Now I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but the key words here are stable and shape. It's not a tiny particle like we usually think of it. It's a persistent geometric pattern.
All right, so here's how it goes down. You start with the perfectly smooth, uniform fabric. Then it gets bent or folded into a very specific, stable structure, this ball shape. And here's the absolute kicker. The very existence of this shape starts pulling in more of the fabric from all around it. And that inward pull, that is what we feel as gravity.
So this is the really crucial point to get. Mass isn't some separate thing that has gravity. Mass is a geometric pattern in the fabric of reality. And gravity is just what happens because that pattern exists. It's a property of its shape.
Now here's where this gets even cooler. If a theory is really powerful, it shouldn't just solve one mystery, right? It should shed light on others. And this whole idea of reality being a shapeable fabric, well, it does exactly that when we turn to one of the biggest puzzles out there, dark matter.
It's a pretty natural question to ask, isn't it? If this fabric can be bent into these tiny little local balls that we call mass, could it also be bent into other shapes, maybe much, much larger shapes?
And that's exactly what the theory proposes. Dark matter isn't some weird, invisible particle we're hunting for. It's just another kind of shape in the fabric of reality. But instead of being a tiny local ball, it's a massive, galaxy-spanning global structure. And I love this because it gives us such a powerful image to understand the relationship. All the visible matter, all those little resonance carrier balls, are basically just surfing on the giant curves of these larger dark matter shapes. So they're not two different things bumping into each other. It's just small shapes moving along the huge contours of giant shapes, all made from the exact same thing.
So let's just wrap this all up real quick.
The theory says there's only one fundamental substance, this fabric of reality. From that fabric, tiny stable shapes pop up that we see as mass. The fabric all around those shapes is what we call space-time. And these enormous, galaxy-sized waves in that very same fabric, that's what we've been calling dark matter. It's all just geometry.
And this whole thing just leaves us with a really fascinating final thought. I mean, if mass and dark matter are just two of the possible shapes that the fabric of reality can take, what else is out there? What other structures, what other phenomena might be hiding in plain sight just waiting for us to see them as new patterns woven into the very fabric of everything?